eBay, what's good? eBay. YouTube, what's good? Today is Thursday. We got a little over 10 items to pack up. Let's see what ship. First up on what shipping, heading to Cali, we got this cool Tim Lincecum Giants jersey with a nice patch on the sleeve. It's heading to California, and that's what's first on what shipping. Next up, we got this Stussy Raglan tee with the big 8 ball on the back. This is heading to California also. It sold for about 25 shipped roughly, and that's what's next on what shipping. Next up on what shipping, we got a piece I've had for a minute now. This is a Tyrone Wheatley jersey. It's actually a Wilson though, which is a little more rare. This piece is heading to New Jersey, and that's what's next on what shipping. Next up, I got a pair of Air Jordan 5s. These are the black grapes. I'll be honest, when these came out, I was super geeked about them. I have a really long story about how I got them and blah, 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 but I'm not going to go into all of that. But I will say that the suede on these, super, super fine. So you wear them out like one time, they're cooked, literally. So after I realized that, they weren't really one of my favorites anymore. Anyway, this pair is heading out to Florida. Sold for about $150 or $160 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what shipping. Next up, we got this beautiful Mitchell & Ness NBA Finals 97-98 Dennis Rodman Chicago Bulls jersey. I've had this on eBay for a while. I took it off eBay before that last episode of The Last Dance. I put it back on eBay for a little bit more money, and it sold for a little bit more than I had it listed for originally. So sometimes you got to do that. You got to unlist, relist, wait for hype, whatever it is. This piece sold for about 200 shipped and it's heading to New York, and that's what's next on what ship. Next up, we got a pair heading to New York. This I actually bought from my grandfather. They didn't fit him, so we put these on eBay I put these on eBay like a long time ago, and just the other day they sold. These are the Air Monarchs. Now, one thing I believe that is true about the Air Monarch, it is Nike's best-selling sneaker, I believe. These are heading to New York, and they sold for about 60 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what shipping. Next up on what shipping, we got a pair heading to Nevada. Here we have the Tinker Air Jordan 3 Air Max edition, I guess. These are in pretty good condition. Sold for the low. They got some dirt on the bottoms, obviously. They're heading to Nevada for about 90 shipped, and that's what's next on what ship. Next up on what ship, we got this Carl Banks Russell Athletic Collegiate Legends jersey, Michigan State. It's a size 56. It's a really nice jersey. Quality's really nice on it. This is heading to Michigan. It sold for about 50 or 60 shipped, and that's what's next on what ship. Next up on what shipping, we got a pair of Air Jordan 11s. This is the Platinum Tint Edition. I probably said it already. This is a pretty crappy colorway if you ask me. I mean, the suede part about it is crappy. If they made it patent leather, it would have been a lot better. These are heading to Arizona, I believe, for about $150 plus shipping, and that's what's next on what ship. Next up on what shipping, we got the OG Nike React 87. This is the sale colorway. Now, this pair goes for a lot of money, but the black OG pair just restocked like recently, and now goes for nothing. So I don't know. I have a feeling this same thing might happen to this pair. Could be wrong, but you know, I'm not taking my chances. This is a used 11.5. It sold for about $225 shipped, and that's what's next on what ship. Next up on what shipping, I cashed in on some Last Dance hype with this one. Had this youth rookie Jordan jersey up there. Sold for about 60 shipped. You know, it's a little battered, but it's still beautiful. And that's what's next on what shipping. Next up on what shipping, we got this Salvatore Ferragamo polo shirt. Now, don't even ask me how I got this in my possession. Don't even ask. I don't even. Salvatore Ferragamo polo shirt. Sold for like 60 shipped. It's heading to Indiana. And that's what's next on what shipping. Let's get right down to business. First up, we got this pair heading to Virginia. This is the Nike Zoom Rookie. Really cool sneaker, I guess. I heard they're really uncomfortable. This pair comes with green laces, kind of like a Christmassy theme. This pair sold for about $150 plus shipping, heading to Virginia, and that's what's first on the day for what shipping. Next up on what shipping, we got a jersey heading to Cali. This is the Deshaun Stevenson. Again, I said it once because I've sold this jersey before in another episode. He had the yopper, especially in 2K. He was like a 72 in 2K, but he just really had the yop if you knew how to play with him. This is a size 60, really nice jersey, but it's a 60. So this one sold for the low, like 40 shipped, and that's what's next on what shipping. Next up on what shipping, we got a GOAT order. This is the Nike Zoom Rookie Premium. Again, this sneaker used to go for a lot more money. This is the retro version, so it doesn't sell for as much. This was my size, 11.5. Sold for about $270, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got a pair heading to the Bronx, New York. This is the History of Spizike 6. These sold for like $115 plus shipping. Look at the condition. This is like a steal. These used to be like $350, $400. Crazy how the game changes. This pair's heading out, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got a pair of Gamma 11s. You don't see Gamma 11s too often. Gamma 11s are faked a lot, so you got to be careful who you buy them from, where you buy them from. This pair's heading to Colorado. Pretty clean, sold for like $265 plus shipping. I personally do not like the Gamma 11 just because it's an 11 Jordan never really wore. A lot of people love the Gamma 11 more than the cool gray space. Like, that's crazy. Preposterous if you ask me. Jordan needs to definitely re-retro the cool gray next. Forget these, forget a lot of other ones. We need the cool gray 11s back. Anyway, these sold and they're heading out, and that's what's next on What. Next up on What Shipping, we got a pair of the women's Nike Air Swoops 2. Really cool sneaker. I thought I hit a lick on these when I got them on Nike. Got a women's 11, men's 9.5. Figured I'd be able to make a little 50 bucks or something. Ended up losing money on these, to be honest. It is what it is though, still a cool sneaker. These are heading out for about 100 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got one of my all-time favorites, the Aqua 8 most recent release. These are heading out, sold for a little over 100 bucks plus shipping, size 11.5. These are heading to Massachusetts, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got an order heading to GOAT. Here we have the Crawfish Nike SB. Sold for like $380, which is crazy. You know, if these go up something crazy in the future, I'm gonna try not to care, because you know these didn't go for this much. So I'll take that $380, you know, plant a seed somewhere else and watch that seed grow into more than $380. So these are heading out, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got a pair of Air Jordan 3 Jokers. This is an 8.5. I've had these for forever, no box. Literally, I've had these for like over 2 years, probably at least. This pair sold for like $120 on GOAT. Definitely happy about that, more than I thought I was gonna get for them. Pretty cool colorway though, if you ask me. And that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got another pair of these Adidas Forums. Really nice pair. This pair sold for $75 plus shipping. Just pairs you don't find nowadays anymore, man. Really clean stuff. I used to have a pair of these in all black back in the day. Anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have a pair that I've had on eBay for a while. I've gotten a lot of offers. It's the Air Jordan 3 True Blue, Nike Air on the back. I've had these up for $175. I got so many offers. No one made a good enough offer to accept. Finally, what someone do, hit the buy it now button. Obviously, because it's a beautiful sneaker. It's in pretty good condition. I mean, these are definitely like 300 or better new now. So $175 plus shipping is definitely a pretty good deal for a lightly used pair. Classic sneaker here. Before these came out, again, when I was in high school, these were like a grail, man. Anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got these Como de Garçon joints. These are heading to Cali. Not much to say about these. Sold for like $75 plus shipping. Could have cleaned them to try to get 100, but it is what it is. We'll let these go, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we got a pair heading to GOAT. Diamond Turf. Got like $120 for these. Really happy about that. Didn't expect that. I've had them up for a really long time though, so you know, patience breeds profit, if that makes sense. Just made that up in my head. Anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. I believe last on the day for What Shipping, we have the Air Jordan 1 Low Bread. These are really smoked, really cooked, but they sold for the high, man. These sold for like over 200 bucks. They're heading to Texas. Definitely crazy to think that these would go up. I mean, I should have been on it because the feeling of these is very OG-esque, but they're low tops. Shouts to Travis Scott for making these go up. Shouts to The Last Dance for making all the Jordan stuff go up. And that's what's next on What Shipping. YouTube was good. Happy Saturday. I'm in here. I got a couple appointments to handle. I also have a couple orders to ship out. So let's see what's shipping. First up on What Shipping, we got a pair heading to Rhode Island. Here we have the Human Race Trail joints. You know the story with these. Used to go for so much bread. Made different colors and stuff. Now these sold for like $240, which isn't too bad for a used pair. I'll take it. That's what's first on What Shipping. Next on What Shipping, we got a pair heading to Cali. This is the Air Jordan 11 Anniversary All White Edition. Had a lot of people interested in this pair. I had one dude who was gonna pull up and buy them. Then he said there was a little too much yellowing, which is understandable. Then the next day they sold on eBay for a little more than he was going to pay, which is cool. So these are heading to California for about 200 shipped roughly, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair heading to Washington. This is the Air Jordan 6 Olympic classic pair right here. This is a used pair, 11.5, sold for a little over 100 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up, we got a cool Air Max 1. I'm a big fan of these. I think these are dope. These are the Air Max 1 Sketch to Selfs. These are heading to New York. They're pre-owned, sold for a little over 100 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping is a pair that you know has been influenced by The Last Dance, the Air Jordan 2 Wing It, because honestly, Air Jordan 2s never really sell. I personally like Air Jordan 2s. Not really this colorway, more of the OG colorways, but this pair finally sold. It's heading to PA for a little over 200 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair heading to Georgia. This is the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red. These sold for the low, like 70 shipped, something like that. This is a youth 6.5, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair I've had for a long time now. Air Presto 4 Youth though. These sold for a little over 50 shipped. They're heading to Kentucky. These are kind of like Kentucky Wildcat colors. Presto is one of the most comfortable sneakers ever. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a beautiful Mitchell & Ness Grant Hill authentic jersey. This jersey is heading to California for about 200 shipped. Very nice jersey. It's just a size 56, so I decided to let it go. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got another pair that I've had for a while. This is the Air Jordan 10 TXT. I actually thought I lost this pair, then I found it, put it back on eBay, and it sold for about 100 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this Carlton Fisk Mitchell & Ness batting practice jersey. This is a cool piece, sold for like 40 shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair of Air Jordan 12s. This is a black and blue edition pair. Really cool pair. It's actually been going up in price lately, brand new. I actually paid 100 on these, ended up selling them for 220 plus shipping. Definitely happy about that. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping and last up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Air Max 1 Anniversaries. Funny story about this pair, I have it on eBay for about 250 plus shipping. One dude hit me up and said, hey, would you do 200 shipped invoice? And I said, no, I'll do 200 shipped gift if that works for you. That's totally cool. He told me he'd get back to me. Never got back to me, obviously. Wasn't comfortable with the gift payment, which is understandable, obviously. Then a couple days later, someone else hit me up, made me the $200 offer gift. And these are heading out. Definitely a classic sneaker. One of the best. Probably going to keep going up in price if you ask me. This size 10 is heading out. That's what's last on the day for What's Shipping. YouTube, what's good? Happy Monday. We got a little over 6 orders to pack up and ship out. Let's see what is shipping. First off on What's Shipping, we have a beautiful pair of Adidas blue tints. By beautiful, I just mean really good condition. This is a size 8 heading to Massachusetts. These sold for close to 400 bucks. Definitely happy about that outcome. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair that I usually don't even take in. I kind of just took these in for a little bit of store credit. These are heading to Arkansas for like 30 bucks. These are the Jordan Horizon lows. Hopefully I never see these again in store. That's a story for a different day. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Ultra Boost mids. This is a pretty cool pair. They really don't go for much though. This sold for like 50 bucks plus shipping. These are heading to Florida. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Nike Air Trainer Max 91s. I definitely had a pair of these back in the day. A lot of people had pairs of these back in the day. I had a different colorway than this one, but anyway, this pair sold for like 50 bucks shipped, and that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we have a pair of Kobe's, Kobe 10s. Kind of like a Grinch vibe on these. These are used, but there's still a lot of traction on the bottom. These sold for like 100 plus shipping, and they are heading to Louisiana, I believe. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Next up on What's Shipping, we got this really sweet pair of Dunks from 2007. Really dope. Colors pop out. Cool pair. These sold for like 75 plus shipping, and that's what's next on Next up on What's Shipping, we got a pair of Cement 4s with the Nike Air on the back. These are really cooked. I tried to take advantage of the Last Dance episodes, so put them up, sold them, heading to a new home. And that's what's next on What's Shipping. Last up on this quick segment of What's Shipping, we have the Nike Air Max 1 DLX Safari Edition. Crazy pair of sneakers. I've had these up on eBay for a long time. I got offer after offer. I literally had like 45 watchers on this pair. Finally someone hit the buy it now button, as they should. I mean, these are going for like $450 new, so 300 used. It is what it is. If you want them, you gotta hit that buy it now. You gotta, you know, pull that trigger sometimes if you really want some. Anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. YouTube, what's good? Today is Tuesday. Got some stuff to ship out. Let's see what ship. First up on What Shipping, we have a pair heading to New Jersey. This is the LeBron 7 bread colorway. These are pretty cooked, but not the worst condition. Bubbles are still intact. These only sold for about 60 plus shipping. They're heading to New Jersey. Definitely a good price if you're looking for them. They've definitely been re-retroing a lot of LeBron 7s too, which is cool. Making new colorways, re-retroing the old ones. They're $200 so when they come out, so they sometimes end up sitting depending on the size and the colorway. Anyway, these are heading out, and that's what's first on What Shipping. Next on What Shipping, we have a Chicago Bulls warm-up Mitchell & Ness type jacket. Obviously, because of the Last Dance, a lot of Chicago Bulls stuff has been sought after again. Really cool for me, obviously, because I have so much of it. Anyway, this Mitchell & Ness piece is heading to Virginia for about 50 plus shipping, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have a 10.5 in these Earth Yeezys. These are DS brand new. They sold for 300 plus shipping. They're heading to PA. A lot of Yeezys are going up in price, it seems, depending on the colorway. So if you have some in the closet, definitely check those StockX, Go, eBay, all them apps. Anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have a pair of Marvin the Martian 7s, aka Barcelona Night 7s. These are heading out for about like 40 plus shipping. Definitely a cheap pair right here. These are heading to Texas. Shouts to Texas. And that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 13 gray toes. Now, because of the last episode of The Last Dance, a lot of people saw Jordan was wearing the bread 13s, the playoff 13s, etc. All of a sudden, Jordan 13s prices have been going up. That's good for me because I don't know if you can get this, but I have like so many 13s on that bottom row that just never sell. So definitely good that the 13 is getting its respect now. That's what's next on What Next up on What Shipping, we have a pair of Air Jordan 1 lows. These are the ones with the green on the back. These I've had for quite some time. The Air Jordan 1 lows have went up in price also. Basically all the colorways that came out around this time are now kind of hard to find. So if you could find them, definitely hold on to them for a little bit. They'll probably keep going up. This pair sold for about 100. Definitely happy about that. And that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up, we have a GOAT order. This is the Air Force 1 High. You know, not much to say about these. Good for the fall. Brand new, size 11.5. These sold for about 175, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up, we have another pair heading to GOAT. This is the Nike Air Penny 2. I found these at Marshall's. I ended up selling them for like $52 or something. I think I paid about 30, so not terrible. I did have them for quite some time. So anyway, that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have a Tyson Chandler authentic size 56 Nike Chicago Bulls jersey. This is a very nice piece. It's going to a dude who sells a lot of jerseys, so maybe he's going to customize this into a Jordan. I really don't even know what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to put a patch on it and sell it as a more expensive Chandler. Either way, this piece sold for about 75 shipped. It's heading to Kentucky, and that's what's next on What Shipping. Next up on What Shipping, we have the Nike Air Fear of God 1 sale. Funny story about the Fear of God 1. When they first came out, I was trying to buy them for like crazy prices. I thought they'd go up to like $1,500. Thank God I got rid of them because they did not go up. This pair is used. It's sold for about $550 or so. Definitely happy about the outcome. I had these up for a while on GOAT. I don't think they'll keep going up, and if they do, I don't really mind missing out because I could use that money right now. These are like moon boots to me. I don't even know how people wear them. I'm definitely not stylish enough to wear them. Kind of like a weird shoe to me. Cool concept though, for sure. Anyway, this size 11 is heading to GOAT, and that's what's next and last on the day for What's Shipping.